Welcome back to Spellbound Pages. Or welcome if you're new here. Here we read fantasy, dark romance, morally questionable MMCs or FMCs, emotionally unstable fictional people. July was a bit of everything for me. We had dragons, demons, wolves, dystopian chaos, extremely questionable MMCs, and MCs in general. One fictional husband definitely raised my standards again, and at least one book that had me staring at the page like, excuse you? Are we gonna end this like this right here? You're kidding me. So today, we're going through everything I have read in July, what actually worked for me, what absolutely did not. And then we're going directly in my hopeful to be read for August. Without further intro, let's get into it. This was a solid, I had fun, but I wasn't emotionally rearranged by it kind of book. It's 100% a steampunk fantasy adventure with dragons, political intrigue, and mostly rebellion. But it is not romantasy. So please don't go into this expecting a spoony romance. That is not what this is about. There is one, but it is not the main event. Far from that. I really enjoyed the mix of magic and technology, giving that steampunk vibe, and some of the morally grey, questionable characters were actually really compelling. But the multiple structure occasionally had me going like, wait, whose head are we in again? Who is this again? Which path am I in again? Because there was too many at first for my sanity. Overall, it is a fun fantasy read, just not one that completely stole my heart. Average type of fantasy book, but good. Bestie, this was exactly the little bonus story I didn't know I needed. It is short and quick. It doesn't have the completely unhinged twist of the main series, but we are getting more Millie and Enzo, and honestly it was enough for me. Enzo, that man, somehow I just love him even more now, because it's not fair, you know? He's one of those that literally put my standard through the roof. Yes. So this book is basically a tiny wedding day detour with some suspense, some sweetness, and a very happy emotional feeling of I've got to spend more time with these characters in this book and that little sweet treat. This book felt like I accidentally walked into a D&D campaign, halfway through, and I decided to stay. A demon-possessed gnome, chaotic adventurers, cursed cities, and also magical nonsense. Although I was sold, Jerome was easily my favorite, but I'm gonna be honest here. The humor wasn't for me. I don't know if it's because I'm French, and therefore my sense of humor is different, but it was supposed to be hilarious and it made me smile. Sure, I smiled. I didn't laugh. I didn't kick my feet. Nope. But still, if you love a tabletop fantasy and you love a very sarcastic type of humor, maybe dark sarcastic humor, and a ragtag group of adventurers that are getting themselves into the most ridiculous situations, then yeah, you might absolutely enjoy it because overall, this is a fun ride. Oh my god, I was not expecting to like this so much. Why did nobody tell me I was going to be obsessed with this? Completely obsessed with a book whose people job is about to control death. The premise is absolutely brilliant. But what really got me is how much this book has to say about morality, power, corruption, humanity, and also what happened when you take something fundamental as death out of the equation. Citra and Rowan were absolutely fantastic. The plot kept throwing me curveballs, and I kept telling myself one more chapter. But we all know that was a lie, right? I went into expecting a good dystopian sci-fi book, and I'm not a sci-fi girly. And I came out of this book questioning humanity. So obviously I need books too, as soon as possible, when my bookopoly or my mood will allow me to, of course. I genuinely did not expect also to love this one as much, especially since I have read so many mixed opinions about it. Yes, it's spicy, but we are warned before the book even starts that it is an erotic book. Fine, I cannot judge you upon that because there is a warning. You know what you get before even starting. And yes, Ellie Kilgore is absolutely horrendous, in the best way, if you ask me. What really worked for me was the emotional side and the way the book explores loneliness, self-protection, and also the difference between being desired and actually being seen for who you are. Rue is messy, guarded, and frustrating at times, but all in a very human way, relatable. While Ellie is basically the competent man who has already fallen in love, falling first, and is patiently waiting for her to catch up. And apparently, this type of situation completely destroyed my critical thinking. It is what it is. I came for the chemistry, the corporate enemies to lovers type of drama. But I totally stayed for two emotionally constipated people, slowly realizing that letting someone care for you, it is not the end of the world. I didn't know this one would become one of my favorites in the Lord series, but here we are, full of surprises this July month. And maybe that's the reason it works so well for me. It is absolutely still completely unhinged. All the characters need therapy as usual, and I had moments where I stopped questioning everything and I just accepted the chaos. I mean, the whole series is about that. But Hayden and Charlotte absolutely surprised me, especially because our FMC Charlotte, she does have some backbone, and I love that for her. And Hayden's obsession felt definitely rooted in care rather than simply possession. Is this whole series a bit ridiculous? And for the whole vibe only, and enjoyment, 100%. Am I still going to read anything Shantel Tessier realized at this point? Yes. And also, unfortunately, for my sanity. This was a bit of a disappointment, sadly. This was one of those books where I was simultaneously entertained and annoyed. Yeah, I know, contradictory. I was both at the same time. The political drama, the twists, and the general chaos of the book that entirely kept me turning pages. But 10 internal dialogues. Girl, what are we doing? And that's almost every 5 minutes. She frustrated me so much. And then the star of the show, Apollo, showed up. And I completely forgot the first MMC. I definitely care more about what he was doing than anyone else. Overall, I had a fair amount of good time. But also that ending left me feeling a bit like, the whole book and the promise of the title is about our FMC to be able to make a choice, or maybe no choice, and that choice is removed from her at the end. Plus, I do feel the things with Apollo are not settled. This is not the end. Anyway, moving on. 5 freaking stars. This was everything to me. And at this point, I just think Amber and Nicole cannot disappoint me. And I definitely decided that I will never escape this series. And I'm not mad about it. Please give me more. I am somehow even more attached to those characters. Sam Kiel, of course, Diana, and also the Fount family. All of them. Even Caden and Isaiah. Isaiah especially is one of my favorites. And Sam Kiel and Diana remain one of those couples that don't need endless misunderstanding, because they are absolute trust in each other is giving everything you need. And of course, that ending happened. And I genuinely just stared at the last page like Amber and Nicole had personally betrayed me. I need book 5 immediately. I know it's coming very soon in the next few months before the end of the year. I think in November, if I'm right. That cannot come any faster. I need this. I get the hype now. I somehow ended flying through this because it was just ridiculously entertaining. It's a whole vibe. She was frustrating me more than once. Some of her decisions and way of thinking had me staring at the page like, what are you doing? No. Didn't you just learn and said you wouldn't do that again? Why? Think for literally 5 seconds. Anasa had my full support from the start. So no, this book doesn't reinvent fantasy, but dire wolves, political tension, mystery, and action, because this is a very action-driven book. They all worked really well together. And if a book can make me lose track of time, well, then I just want to know the rest, right? I immediately want the sequel. And of course, I finished my reread of the Fourth Wing series with Onyx. This was my second time reading this book, and somehow, yeah, it still has me. It's still a 5-star. No notes. This time around, I listened to the graphic audio at the same time, in immersive reading, and honestly, it made the reread feeling really fresh. It was everything. It is 100% worth it, and I cannot recommend it enough if you want to reread the series. It made all the chaos, the banter, and even even the emotional damage, it's totally different. And yes, I still love and adore Xaden and Violet, like almost everyone I think. But I am at a point as well where I would happily accept one entire book about Freida and Arik. Those are two of my favorite characters ever in 4th Wave, except for Tern, Andana, and Scale. Just have them causing problems, troubles, and shenanigans, I would be happy. Was I emotionally attacked? Obviously, I cried more than once. This is emotional damage at its finest. And it's still a 5 stars. Yes, without any hesitation, no notes. Overall, July was a pretty good reading month for me. So 10 books, couple surprising books, one new obsession with it. And now we have reached the next part of this video, the August top 4 to be read. And I am pretty excited about this lineup. After reading Behind the Throne last month, Bookopoly decided this was a non-negotiable. So here we are. I was not really thrilled about knowing I will have to go backwards in the stories because I am a chronological girly at heart. So I would rather have like this as a prequel and not a sequel. But we are putting our bet on and see what this Empire of Engines, how it all actually started. This one takes place 1,000 years earlier and it follows Chandra as she gets pulled into a war involving dragons again, an invading empire, and a kingdom desperately looking for powerful allies. I can tell right now as I'm recording this, I was very curious to see if where the story eventually ends would make this one feel different for me, and actually it felt very similar to the first one. It was like very similar vibe of the plot, even if it was different, so the structure was a bit similar-ish and not emotionally attached. I will talk about it later next month in more detail, but yeah. I have already been warned that Mariana Zapata does not believe in the concept of a small slow burn, or should I say normal length slow burn. So I guess wish me luck. We have a former soccer idol, turned now coach, and a player who used to have poster of said coach, and there will be apparently a lot of tension between them. So I am expecting more than 80% of the book to be a long, slow, torturous, frustrating slow burn, and to be all about yearning before any of them admit it. And I am 100% ready for that. This one was basically sitting in my never-ending to be read, waving at me like, hello, you literally love witches, werewolves, vampires, and also murder mysteries. So what are we waiting for? Our FMC, Zara, gets sent to this magical academy because of her politically ambitious father. She comes from a witch family, and all of this setting just ends with the murder of a student. And strangely, nobody seems to really be interested to solve that mystery. So naturally, she assembles a little supernatural squad, making that small circle detectives. And I am very here for the fun family and also the murder mystery combination. I'm sad. It is finally time. We are going back into the Crown of Nyaxia universe. Finally. And this time, we've got Eternal Night, a 10-year war between humans and vampires, a revenge-driven bounty hunter, a very suspicious and charismatic vampire prince, Septimus. And Karin and Septimus both have to team up, force proximity, right? To basically hunt gods, while also navigating prophecies, curses, and also the inconvenient problem of being attracted to each other. Such an issue, right? The tension will be big. I know it. So this absolutely sounds like something I will read past my bedtime, and I will just eat it up. Listen, we are definitely finishing that standalone series, because this is the last one, sadly. I have to keep going, so I'm wrap it up in August. This one follows another Spade Brothers, Kashtan, and our FMC has spent years rebuilding herself. after a really dark past. So I am really curious to see what happens when the man who once saved her comes back into her life, finally wanting something more. I know it's going to be messy, chaotic. It's going to be obviously very dark as usual. That's the whole series, right? But I know I'm gonna eat all the book up. I'm hoping it will be as good as the last one because this one is 1K pages, so it better be good. And yes, I had FOMO, and we apparently have an Ali Hazelwood summer, so here we are. After Not in Love last month, we are finally getting into the love hypothesis. Here we have fake dating, a grumpy professor, a PhD student, science of course, once again, and a man who has absolutely no business being that attractive, while also being a nerd. I have a feeling this will be exactly the cute, fun romance I need to finish this summer. Or otherwise, I'm about to discover I have opinions about romance and scientists. We shall see. This one caught my attention the moment I have read Sirens. And yes, I have FOMO too, I've seen it everywhere. It's been a while in my to-be-read though. Imogen, or FMC, is hiding her identity as a siren in a kingdom that believes sirens are actual monsters, until a neighboring king discovers what she is and convince her that her powers might be the key to defeat something even worse. Add to that, Bloodbond, Undead Waters, and enemies to lover vibes, or maybe to lovers, we shall see. Some tension, and a whole arc, maybe I have to become a monster to defeat a monster. Yeah, I am sold. I am intrigued. Sign me up. Of course, after Quicksilver, I think it was 2 months ago now, and it was such a big win for me, I am very ready to go back to this world. Brimstone start with Ceres as a queen of the Blood Court, while Fisher and Carrion are dealing with their own questionable type of quests, and road trip through the Silver City. And apparently, everything is about to go very, very wrong. I'm so here for this. So, to resume, from what I read, it will be Fae politics, danger, secrets, banter. I mean, Carrion being there is more than enough to know that. And people I already care about being put through hell. That sounds like an amazing time to me. Please give me more. I am sad for this. I know I will enjoy it. I am also continuing my Caraval journey. This time we are following Tella as she is getting pulled back into the dangerous game to finally uncover Legend's true identity. And I have really fallen in love with the vibe of the first book. The slightly creepy, magical atmosphere, fairy tale-like. So I am really curious to see how this book and this world expands from here, and whether or not Tella's story can hook me as much. And also, let's be real, I need to know who Legend is, right? You want to know too if you didn't read it. I want to know. Give me the gossip. And finally, a little cowboy to end that August lineup. What else? And this was the book I really hoped and was waiting for in that series. Finally, Ted and Gus. We all know by now they cannot stand each other. And then in this book they are thrown into forced proximity. I adore that trope. When Teddy ends up helping Gus with his ranch and his 6-year-old daughter, which is obviously a very terrible situation. At least for the two of them, because they cannot stand each other. Also, they say they have absolutely no feeling for each other, right? Sure. I am expecting a hate to lovers, enemies, at least modern cowboy-wise, to lovers. Obviously, the small town charm, family chaos, and another man in jean and cowboy hat that will make me forget all of my principles. That's the deal. And that's it. That is everything I will read and I have read in July and hopefully in August. So now I need to know, what was the best book, your favorite book that you have read in July? And more importantly, both are important actually. Which August books on your to-be-read are you the most excited about right now? Tell me in the comments. Because I genuinely want to know what everyone else is reading. And I need all the recommendations to my never-ending to-be-reads. Let's keep it growing, please. Also, if you're new here, hi, welcome. I am very happy you're here. Stick around if you also enjoy fantasy, dark romance. And you do as well become emotionally attached to fictional characters. I'll see you in the next one. Have a wonderful time reading in the meantime.